Ho, ho, ho. Ladies, gentlemen, gamers, and fellow League of Legends lovers. Welcome back once again to another patch notes review by yours truly, me, Chris Allen, the mega streamer extraordinaire, the ADC aficionado, the virtuoso, some might call me, and generally the best player in League of Legends ever. So, with my mega giga brain, we are here once again to review the patch notes. Unfortunately, for some reason, this is not on the client. I did check, it wasn't there. The old one is still there from like 2 weeks ago. So, we're going to be doing this on the League side. I've zoomed it in a little bit for people's viewing pleasure as well as for my old man eyes. But regardless, we should be good. Anyway, this patch is apparently going to be pretty big. I've been hearing things, especially from the other patch, and especially just in the community, that this patch is supposed to basically fine tune things from last patch. We really haven't had any real fine tuning, which I was surprised by in 14.2. There wasn't really any massive sweeping balance changes on most of the things, and I guess they just needed more data. I don't really know. But they're going to do that here. So, without further ado, let's take a look at it. I have a lot of food here. I have some, I guess, what is this, 2-day old pork. I have a 4-day old egg roll that might kill me. And I have a afternoon old periogi and some yogurt. So I might be munching down on some of these things to help give my brain sustenance to think of how these affect the game. Anyway, what better way to ring in the Lunar Revel with a new patch, which is right here, 14.3. In this week's patch, we're continuing to make follow-up adjustments for champions and items that were affected by the itemization overhaul, aka a reverting back to normal, no more mythics. This includes things like lowering overall burst in the game, which I'm pretty sure is from the mage items, or reducing the amount of proc damage from items, giving some AP carries like Ziggs and Nidalee is gross, more durability to compensate them for their changes to their core items, and adjusting champions that have found a little bit too much success with the new items, aka Rengar and somehow Karma, which is insane. In other news, we also have our Heaven Scale skin line coming out this patch, which I will see at the end and talk about there. The return of Earth for like the billionth time. Hoorah. ARF is better, but whatever. An update on the Vanguard rollout, which is their anti-cheat, and a reminder about Windows 7, 8, and 8.1 depreciation, which means not continued support. So make sure to check out all those below, which we will do right here. So if you're doing something, have me on in the background, or have me on in the foreground if you really enjoy me. So, what do we got here? I don't care. I'm not looking at those. Either way, let's see what's going on here. So the Heaven Scale skins are coming out February 7th, which is today, because I'm recording this at about 12:30 a.m. And then Earth will come out on, surprise, surprise, February 7th, which is today. Cool. So, on to Vanguard. Oh, and also, a little tidbit before we start. So, I have not played too much League since the whole season update. Since new season 14 started, because there hasn't been a pass, which is really the only reason why I really get on, aside from playing with friends, I haven't played much. I've played a little bit here and there, though. I have got re-ranked to Emerald, so whoopee for me. But I'm not too sure about any of these changes. I can't talk too much about if I've seen them by my own personal experience, so I'm just gonna have to go off of my own personal logic. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, it was previously communicated in 14.2 that Riot will be adding Vanguard, Riot's own proprietary anti-cheat software that is basically required for League and Teamfight Tactics, and I believe is also in Valorant as well. This change has been rescheduled due to some critical bugs with the client pop-up. Oh. So they're delaying it by one patch cycle. So starting in patch 14.3, which is this one, we will run a diagnostic check to see if your computer is ready for this. If not, please review the troubleshooting. This change may also mean that we are pushing back Vanguard launch from 14.4 to 14.5. So we still have a lot of time. We still have like, what, a month? So that's cool. So if you originally failed the check, it will rerun at a later point, or you can manually do it yourself. And this will not mean that Vanguard is being active or used yet. It's just to give you a heads up. So cool. I don't really know what this means. Apparently, a lot of people are a little scared, and it was the same thing with Valorant as well, because I believe it gives Vanguard kernel level permissions or access, which, for those of you who don't know, is the most access you can have. It's like you could do anything there. So people are a little apprehensive about it, and rightly so. But, you know, what way can you combat cheaters? You go there. So it's a, some would say, necessarily evil. But that has nothing to do with the actual game, so let's move on. Excuse me. So the Windows Mini Spec update. So on Wednesday, 21st February, we are updating our minimum system requirements and will no longer be supporting Windows 7, 8, and 8.1. So I'm a little curious why they're doing this in the middle of the patch. Oh, actually, no, that's going to be the next patch. Never mind. That's going to be 14.4. I thought it was in the middle of it, but I was wrong. To maintain the stability and performance of League and all the other games, they are depreciating support for legacy operating systems that basically no one should be using, even though people still do. So if you're still playing on these, please consider updating to continue playing, because if you don't, apparently you can't play. So that really sucks for a lot of people. It kind of reminds me of, what is it? Oh god, it's been so long I don't even remember. Twisted Treeline, that's what it was. 3v3 getting removed. Even though some people played it, most people moved on to everything else. So that's sad. Either way, moving right into the balance changes, we have my favorite space dragon, Aurelion Sol. So, what do we see for him? Uh, I think Asol, it's a little weird to say because I really haven't played him and I really want to, especially with the new items. The thing with the new items, especially the mage items, is I don't know what's good and what's not on player or on players on champions, because there's so many different items that I want to build that 6 slots, realistically 5 if you consider boots not playing Cassiopeia, it's just not enough slots. Like I really want to build just more items. Granted, obviously that would be OP and not right, and it's not allowed. But it's just like there's so many good items. I feel like there's actually so many choices now, which is never there for ADC. So that's sad. But it's really crazy that they took mid, which was like pretty designated build paths that didn't change, and now, in my opinion, from what I've played, maybe on certain champions this isn't the case because certain champions do have very strict builds, but for most champions, for most mages rather, I feel like there's a lot of build variety and a lot of just options of what do you want to do, how do you want to do it, what does the game call for, which is always a good thing, and I really hope they add it to other classes, especially ADC. But for Acel specifically, I'm not sure because I haven't played him. I'm trying to think like you'd obviously build Liandry's on him. You'd obviously build Shadow Flame on him. I would build Rabadon's, Rylai's, and anything else that makes him sort of healthy because he gets more than enough damage on his own. But I could see people going Storm Surge. I don't really see people going uh Luden's Companion, but maybe it's good. I don't know. Luden's Companion is kind of good all around. But either way, I don't imagine Asol to be strong from I don't know. Because if they're already nerfing the items, maybe they think Asol's still too good. So if they nerf him, I'm gonna be sad. But if I had to assume anything, it's probably a nerf. So let's see. Asol's itemization is less than stellar right now because Liandry's no longer provides him with mana. And then there's no more Crown of the Shattered Queen because the item was dumb. On top of high mana costs, Aurelion Sol has largely been opting for passive and reactive playstyles rather than proactive ones, which I think is the way most people will play him and I play him. I don't really play aggressive unless I know, because there's no reason to, because you're a stacker, you're pretty weak too. If you risk it and you die, you've basically lost like your main thing, which is trying to get stacks. The more uptime you have, the more stacks you have. You don't need to necessarily kill it. It would help you, but you have other avenues of getting ahead to what you need to be. So we believe that a world where the majority of his stacks are coming from proactive play and trading instead of stalling and passive farming is both more fun, which it is, and healthier for the game. Oh, it sounds like they're buffing him because he has to take risks to scale, which is sad. I mean, it's sad but understandable. We are adjusting his mana cost to allow him to be more proactive in lane. I don't think the mana cost is the issue, but let's see. So his Q is going down by like 15. That's honestly pretty good. Starter stacks per champion burst. That's actually really good. 1 to 3 is actually really, really good. Holy shit. The mana cost for W, they should honestly make this free, but whatever. Mana cost for W is going down by 30. Cooldown's going down by a good amount. Holy shit. Wow, the W is getting reduced a lot. And then the Q bonus damage is going from 20 to 26, and then 14 to 18. That's insane. Holy shit, Aesol's gonna do a lot more damage. And then the E, and he's gonna get rewarded for it too. Wow. So the E, Stardust stacks from everything. So it's going from 5 to 2 for takedowns, for epic monster stuff, which is sad, but understandable because you're getting it more from the Q anyway. And then per Ken is going down from 3 to 2, and then 3 to 2. So I'm a little sad they nerfed the E. I didn't think it needed it, or he needed it, but everything else, especially with how much damage he's getting, it's fine, honestly. Because the Stardust stacks do give him more percent health damage anyway. So this isn't too bad. I think this is crazy. They're definitely putting more power into the W. They want you to be active with how you're using it to actually get the most out of him, which is fine. Aesol, I think overall, pretty good from this. I mean, there's literally nothing that's bad except for the E, and that's not too bad. It just sucks for passive players like me. Anyway, Aesol, really good. Azir, I have no clue what's good with Azir. Base health is down. So Azir was basically too good. Thanks to his newfound sustain with Fleet Footwork, he's become nearly impossible to push out of lane. I feel like Fleet Footwork does not give you that much, but whatever. Especially because he's ranged. So Azir is slightly worse. Brand. I have seen a lot of Brand. I believe Brand Jungle is the new hot topic. They've been using it in professional, which means people are going to undoubtedly copy it. And, excuse me. This is where I don't understand what Riot's doing. They want certain champions that have never been junglers, like Zed, like Garen, and like Brand, to go into the jungle. They're giving them jungle scalings, and then when they're good in the jungle, they nerf them. Where it's like, I really don't get it. I don't think they're gonna nerf Brand. I'm pretty sure, or sorry, buff him. I'm pretty sure they're gonna nerf him, especially his jungle. But I don't know why they want him in the jungle, because he's either gonna be really good, or if he's mediocre, you're just gonna use other junglers. This is pretty much at that point only for the brand maids that are gonna use him no matter where you go. A part of me, like a deep conspiracy theorist in me, is saying like, oh, maybe they're just doing this so the people who are one tricks like and troll and they go jungle won't be considered trolling. Like they'll have a shot. But this is just so dumb. I don't know why they're doing this. Either way, what are they doing? Passive damage to monsters decreased. Bug fix to passive, so that probably means nerf. And then Q damage decreased. So Brand is currently quite strong thanks to the combination of three things: his quick jungle clear speed, his natural synergies with Liandry's, obviously, and champions having more health. So this patch brings down his damage, yada yada yada. So what are they doing? The passive damage to monsters is going from 220 to 200. A little bit of a sting there. Blaze no longer deals more than 2% max health damage over a single application. Wait. Oh. So that does sound like an actual bug fix. I don't think that's a nerf. It is a nerf, but it's a nerf that has to be there because it's literally going against what it was supposed to be doing. I don't know how a single application could get over 2% max health. And by application, I'm assuming they mean a tick. If it's for the whole thing, then I think that's a huge nerf, but I'm not sure. Either way, the Q is going down in damage by 10 base damage. That's honestly fine. I thought they were going to nerf it more, and I was going to get upset because the Q is a very hard skill shot to land. So the fact that they're not nerfing into the ground is actually pretty okay here. Brand, slightly wish for, but still pretty okay. So next we have the Cork. Weirdly enough, I've also been seeing some more Corky. I don't think that Corky is that good. However, the fact that I've been seeing him more for some reason signals that I'm probably wrong. So let's see what they're doing. Package duration decreased. Okay, that's a buff. W cooldown decreased. That's a buff. Mana cost decreasing. Wow. Damage increased. Holy shit. And Malignance, which is probably, now that I think about it, one of his best fucking items, no longer counts towards Eclipse's passive. Huh. So Corky is getting a meaningful nerfs this patch, which is core item interactions with Eclipse and Malignance, being quote-unquote bug fixed. That said, we're happy that players have found an interesting build that utilizes all of Corky's odd item scalings. Corky is such a weird scaler, it's crazy. Instead of returning to AP Corky as a scaling low interaction poke champion, we'd like if those AP purchases asked them to play more aggressively and risk occasional aggressive Valkyrie casts. So basically diving in and killing yourself. Emphasis on occasional. Wow, and they're trying to like cover their asses too. So, that's interesting. Oh, wait, no, this is not what I thought. I thought the package would be up sooner. So the package is now lasting for 45 seconds, so you really got to get that shit out there. The W at least is getting a cooldown buff, which is okay. The mana cost is going down, which doesn't matter. You're probably building Essence Reef around him anyway. And then the damage per second is going from 40 to 60. That's actually a pretty decent jump there. Holy shit. And then the arm missile barrage, but it makes sense because you're not building full AP Corki, hopefully. So the arm missile barrage, malignance will no longer count towards Eclipse's passives. So that's if you get Eclipse, which apparently you probably should. But either way, I think this bug fix is probably the thing that hurts him the most. But it's, I think, fine. The W getting buffed is nonsense aside from the cooldown. The damage is alright, but actually it could be more than alright, but we'll see. Porky is slightly worse for wear, but still not bad because they gave him some compensation with the W. Thank God. So moving on to Ezreal. I have seen Ezreal played a lot. And I always say this one thing. When Ezreal is good, ADC is not doing well. So, and let me expound on that. ADC doing well means crit's working. Ezreal does not build crit. If Ezreal is good, that means something is overly oppressive and is probably going to get nerfed if it's a single thing, or Riot doesn't care. Or ADC just isn't doing hot. I think ADC isn't doing hot. And, surprise, surprise, shocker, because in Season 14, they added all these new mage items, all these new top lane items, support items. They redid the whole way you play support with the item quests. Well, not the way you play, but the way you itemize. They made it a lot better. AD got one new item and a whole bunch of, barely anything balance changes to their items. AD got the least, so it's no wonder they're lagging behind and they suck. But Riot refuses to do anything. They let the bot lane meta descend into absolute dumpster fire chaos, and they don't care, and it's sad. Ezreal being good is not good for actual ADCs. Although Ezreal's pretty cool. So he has to get nerfed, there's no way. So we overshot the buffs on Ezreal, having this patch we're buffing quite a few of his core items, so they need to basically nerf him. Let's see. They're saying it should still be a buff with the items, but we'll discuss that. So the damage on Ezreal's Q is going from 135 to 130. That's nothing. And True Shot Barrage is going from 700 to, 675. So he's losing 25 damage, and then 20% of his bonus AD, which is a decent amount. Okay, yeah. So he's gonna do a decent amount less damage, but that's fine. He shouldn't be good anyway. Alolo AI. So I heard this already. So I know she's getting buffed because they said the map changes already kind of made stuff tough for Alawi. So let's not prattle about it. Prattle, paddle, tip tap around it. Let's just see what they're doing. So the map introduced in 14.1 resulted in a drop in power for Alolo AI, mainly due to her tentacles, her concenticles, being designed around the old terrain, which is interesting. We're going to make her tentacles more reliable on the new Rift, but because it's more reliable, which I question how they're going to make it more reliable, they're nerfing it a little bit. So the two changes should be roughly neutral but feel better. So let's see what they're doing. So the tentacle range is growing by 125, which is not anything to gloss over, but it's decent. And then the damage is going from 9 to 162. And a little bit less scaling. See, I don't know if this is the case, because, even though they're going to be a little bit more, reliable, I question how they know that and who's saying that, and will that be enough? Will 925 range be enough? So is it an effective buff? Will players actually be utilizing it? Which, of course, they really have no say in it. And the tentacles already, I think, are nerfed with the soul thing of her E, to where Alawi's just not that good, because you can usually walk away from her tentacles. It's only really noobs, or if you get caught by surprise, that you really get hit by these, unless you're fighting her, obviously. But I don't know. I think Alawi's a little bit worse for wear, honestly. I don't think this is that okay. We gotta see. I really don't know. I don't play Alawi like that. Karma. So what do I think of Karma? I think Karma, as always, is a jack of all trades, which means she's not really that good. She's more annoying. I don't really get her whole shtick, unless the player's really good at core fundamentals, like poking, trading, and knowing what to use when. I feel like Karma is a whatever pick. In the hands of a master, I feel like Karma could do a lot, but without that, I feel like she's really just honestly a bait character that doesn't do much. So, what are they doing? Karma is currently a bit too good with the ability to succeed in top, mid, and support. Newfound power, Malignance, and her ultimate is now too short of a cooldown for the damage it provides. Damn. So they're just gonna nerf her damage from R, which is going down by a good amount of base damage, going by 40, and then getting nerfed by 20%. Wow, they really do not want Karma's R to do damage, aka they don't want Karma to build mage, which I'm fully for. If you're already going Karma, you should already be building support anyway. So, I actually like this change. I do think it's a little harsh, but this is fine. Lilia. Okay, so I actually don't know what is happening with all the dot characters because, like I said, I've barely played. So I honestly don't know what's gonna happen. I hope they buff her though. I really love Lilia in more ways than one too. So let's see. Passive damage decreased, Q damage decreased. God damn it. I feel like her burst is probably a little ridiculous, but let's see. Lily's preferred items became much nicer in the seasonal update, allowing her to access health on every slot and strong Omnivamp that works well with her kit. I like that Lily is generally tankier, which I love, than before as it helps us understand, her stand out from other AP users. And will be reducing her inevitable late game damage while leaving her durability intact. So, the passive, sadly enough, is going down in scaling, which is going to make me cry because the passive is my favorite part. And then the Q is going down by another 20%. When they're doing nerfs by 20%, again, I think that starts leading to a little bit of a harsh territory. So instead of a stern talking to, you're getting a spank on your bottom, which Lilia's bottom has been spanked here. Not terrible, but if they do anything more, I'll think it's a little egregious. Even though I won't remember this whenever they do touch her again, if it's nerf. So, Maokai. We have been seeing also, this is where I said I didn't really play much, but in the times that I did play, I did see all these champions, and Maokai was definitely one of them. Do I think he's good? Not really, no. Is he okay? Yeah, he's alright. And again, depending on your skill level, because he does need a little bit of work to put in to actually do stuff correctly and consistently. I think Maokai, even though he's not support, I'd be okay with seeing him support. I think he should be a top laner for real. But anyway, what are they doing? Maokai support finally has the freedom to rush movement speed tank items without facing off against other champion mythics. He's extremely happy about this fact. So happy that he's the strongest performing support in the game, which is insane. So they want to rein this in while still, retaining his ability to perform top and jungle. I don't know who the fuck goes Maokai jungle. Top, of course I see him. So what are they doing? They're lessening his affinity for the support item. Oh, lowering his access to early saplings, raising his reliance on gold, and giving him the ability to repeatedly press Q more freely. Oh? Damn, it sounds like they're touching a lot of stuff. So, base stat of mana regen is down, which kind of hurts. The passive is now healing for percentage health, which is, oh wait, no. They're getting rid of the base numbers. Interesting. So you're going to be healing for a little bit less, I feel like. But it's not going to be too much more, but a little tiny bit less. So, the Q is... Why do they have cooldown here if the cooldown's not changing? Oh, no, it is. It is. It's getting buffed. Okay, that's cool. That's getting buffed by like 1 second almost on first level. That's honestly nothing, though. Whatever. And then E sapling, the cooldown's going down later, up early. The mana cost is going down by 5, so it doesn't really matter. And then the R, the cooldown is going down. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this. I feel like most of this just doesn't really matter. They're not really touching him enough. But I'm not sure. I guess the mana regen is the biggest thing, but I don't really know what the numbers on that are. So I'm confused if they want to nerf him, if they don't. Either way, I think Maokai is probably a little bit better. I think he's honestly better with the Q and the E changes, but, it's more shifting his power towards later on in the game, not early. So I actually think this is fine. It really isn't that much, though. Nidalee, I hate this character. This character needs to be removed or reworked. She's so terrible. She's fun, but she's not good. So what are they doing? Magic resistant growth increased, E heal increased, bonus attack speed increased. So it almost makes it like an argument, and this isn't a right argument, but I could see the argument saying like, oh, just bring Nidalee support, which is very interesting. So what are they doing? And why are they doing it? In this patch, they're going to increase your E heal since it has room to be more powerful. They want to touch the. What are they doing? So the MR is going up, which is they're buffing her. Okay. And then the minimum heal is going up by a decent amount, especially early. Holy shit, and scaling. And then the bonus attack speed is going up by 10%. Not bad. Not great, but not bad. Honestly, an okay change too. Next, Pike. Pikeathan. What do I think of Pike? I have seen some Pike here and there, but not too much. So let's see. So base armor increased, Q damage increased, mana cost decreased, E bonus move speed increased, E damage increased. Holy shit. So similar to Nidalee up here, or not Nidalee up here, similar to Maokai up here, they're kind of changing everything almost. So what are they doing? His base armor went up by 2, which is very important because he can't build health, so it's not bad. The damage on his Q is getting buffed. The mana cost is getting see, that's so weird. It went from 82 to 80. I feel like they're just evening out the numbers not to make it look weird, but I feel like this has no realistic change whatsoever. The W is now gonna give you more move speed if you build correctly, which you're supposed to, which is lethality. Damn, that's pretty good. Holy shit. And then Phantom Undertow, the damage is the base damage is going up. That's actually really good. Holy shit. By a decent, what is that, 35? That's not bad. Early, it's not that great. Late game, it's not that great either, but 35 is something. Overall, I think Pike is a slight bit better. Nothing crazy, nothing to write home about. Rengar. So let's see what they're doing. I mean, we already know they're nerfing him because that's what they said. Rengar's damage is too high when snowballing, which is what it's supposed to be. So we've been happier than a kin in a store full of catnip. Except in the situation where Kin is the Rengar and the catnip is some of the new lethality items. Wow. So, let's see what they're doing. The base health is going down, so he's more squishy. And then the base damage of the Q is now going down by 5%. 5% isn't that much, but you have to take it in the context of how much is it in the overall grand scheme. In terms of the actual ability, it got nerfed by 1/4. So, you're definitely going to feel it, I think. Empowered bonus damage is going from to 230. Okay, but the AD ratio is getting lowered. Yeah, so the Q is just gonna do a little bit less. I mean, if you want to nerf Rengar, as long as they're not doing some stupidness with AP Rengar, this is the main way to do it. Is it egregious like the other ones? Honestly, not really. Will people feel it? Probably, but I don't think it's that bad. So Rengar is a little worse for it, but not crazy. Shaco, the clown who has no lore. What are they doing? So the mana regen growth is decreased, W mana cost decreased, bonus damage smashes increased, no longer can one-shot grubs. And then E mana cost has increased and the R quality life change. Damn! They really weren't lying about fucking touching the champions. So Shaco's striking fear into the hearts of bot lane players everywhere. And look, Riot keeps shitting on us. But for better or for worse, we think that everyone on the map should be equally terrified, not just bot laners who are scared of everything, even the support. So let's see what they're doing. Mana regen is down, which I really don't know how much that affects things. W is now going to scale down, which is good in cost. Bonus damage to monsters is going up. And then it no longer... Oh no, they no longer get one shot. Oh, okay, that's pretty good. And then the E to shift poison straight 10 up, that's not bad. And then R, hallucinate. So, now an orange poof when it snapbacks to Shaco, okay. Okay, so that displayed on the HUD. Oh! Shaco's clone no longer loses its auto attack when casting spells. Interesting. I think the orange poof thing is kind of a nerf, honestly. Unless it's only for you, but honestly, this is not bad. These are more quality of life than anything, but Shaco's a tad bit better, not crazy. So far, the theme of this patch has not been crazy balance changes. But anyway, let's see what they're doing. So, Shyvana, I haven't really seen much. What are they doing? Remove Night Harvester from the game. AP Shiv was here before that, and she'll be here long after that thanks to her dedicated player base. Wow. Dragon Sims. Since your AP build is something we know players enjoy, we want to make sure it remains viable. Wow, they're buffing AP. So the empowered bonus damage on the Q is going from 35 to 50 AP scaling, which is not bad. Close to 20, which I think is the cutoff for, like, is that a good buff? Or leading to a good buff. And then the attack speed is going up to 70. Damn. And then the W is going up in scaling. So AP Shyvana players are rejoicing. Do I think this is good? Honestly, yeah, it's pretty decent. And AP Shyvana, I think, is pretty fun and pretty ridiculous sometimes, too. So, moving on to Talia. I feel like Talia probably doesn't have a good foothold. They're probably going to buff her, but let's see. So, with the loss of access to ability haste across the board, Talia hasn't been able to get a stable foothold this season. Oh no. Boohoo. So the damage on the Q is going up by 2, which I guess makes sense because it does hit a lot of times, but I don't know how I feel about that. That's like almost a non-buff. Like, what even is that? And the E, cooldown is going down to 14 seconds. That helps a tad bit, but not crazy. It does dictate whether you do your combo, though, so that's fine. Talia, again, going with the usual trend, slightly better. Nothing crazy. Teemo got a Q change. Teemo Q blind now should be immediately applied to the targets. I don't know why they say that, but target hit by the Q, preventing Teemo from taking damage from his auto attack after the blind has been applied. Blind duration should be considered with the debuff duration. Okay, so this is, yeah, just quality of life change. Trundle. I think Trundle is probably eating very well. I would not be surprised if they nerfed him because Trundle is a very feast or famine character, and I feel like a lot of the items that are top lane, as well as just the whole vibe that it's a new season, no one knows what's going on really, at least yet. I feel like Trundle could be decently strong. He could take care of people's or not take care of, take advantage of people's stupidity. So what are they doing? Base health is going down. This means nothing for the most part. And then Q, Chomp. Okay, so that's where he hit you with the club. The damage is going down by 10, at least in the non-scaling portion. Then in the scaling portion, everything's staying the same. So he's losing 10 damage. I mean, it's something, death by 1,000 cuts, but I don't feel like Trundle is, again, continuing sadly with the trend. Whatever. It's a whatever change. It's negative, but it's whatever. Twitch, holy shit. Well, they're only changing his E, but I would have hoped they would have buffed, like, something with AD, but I guess that's a pipe dream. Either way, what are they doing? So, Contaminate. If Twitch uses it at the same time his poison expires, they will not take damage based on the number of stacks they used to have. Wow. That's actually pretty good. I wouldn't even consider that quality of life. Even though it kind of is, I would consider it as a buff. Wow. Wukong, I hate Monkey Boy. There's certain characters in League that just get blown. Some of them, like Lee Sin, are for the skins. Monkey Boy, I feel like, is just for the gameplay. And I feel like for a little bit, so was Cassant as well. So let's see what they're doing. Wukong is in a weak spot at the moment, especially in top lane, so we're here to pull a bit more pep in his day. To give him some space to play with, we'll be considering his early Q bonus range. Wow! So they can even better trade with his opponents. We're also including a buff to listen to... Or not listen. The bonus AD ratios because the armor shred Q gave lost value with the armor sharing community. Which is true. So, I'm not going to read the rest. Let's see what they're doing. So his Q damage is... Sorry, his bonus range is going up, which doesn't necessarily make sense. Wait, what? Oh no, they increased that. I thought they were decreasing it. Okay. Let's see. And then the bonus damage is going up. Interesting. And then the Nimbus Strike on the E is going down by a second. Pretty good. Again, not anything crazy. I might just title this patch, not this. Literally just title it Not Anything Crazy. Yorick. I hope they could do some good things to Yorick. I don't know how Yorick landed, but I'm very excited to play him when I go top lane. Passive summon leash range decreased, which is really good. Summons now gain bonus move speed when returning to Yorick. Thank God. That's really good. Q heal adjusted, mana cost decreased, E time casting decreased, and R bonus damage from attacking maidens target adjusted. Really? Wow. They're changing Yorick up. Uh, excuse me, relatively speaking. So with a bunch of new items to play with, we thought that now would be a good time to revitalize Yorick's classic bruiser builds, because at least before the item update, lethality was running around a little rampant for very experienced Yorick players. Which should ultimately give him more durability to act as a frontliner for his team. We're aware of it, we also want to take the opportunity to smooth his playing experience with minor adjustments to his summon. So let's see what they're doing. So the leash range is lesser, which I think is good. Yorick now gains bonus move speed, or at least his summons do, when returning to him. This bonus move speed is based on the distance. Wow, that's really good. Holy shit. Especially for the maiden, because it says summons, not just the ghouls. At least I hope it's for everything. So the Q heal, which is not that bad at all, is now gaining a missing health component. So overall, this should be way better if you're lower, which is really good. And then it still has, I think, the, or maybe it doesn't have the doubled one below 50, but either way, missing health, I really like that. And then the mana cost is going down even more, but I didn't feel like that was an issue. I don't feel like Yorick, from when I played, and I actually am a Yorick player, really had an issue with mana, but okay. Cast time from the E is going down, which is great. The E did feel a little sluggish, so this is good. Overall, Yorick, pretty good W. Not massive W, I'll have to see, but pretty good W. Oh wait, no, there's still more. Holy shit. And then the R. So now they're nerfing the max health stuff, but it's now because there's no cooldown. Wow. That's pretty insane. And this is where you can really maximize it by resetting your auto attack with the Q. So that's pretty crazy. Holy shit. Yorick, pretty good W. I would dare say, great W. Then we have Zeri, Riot's mistake after Felios. And I guess Yumi. So what are they doing? I feel like Zeri would not be too good just because she's too hard, but I feel like they'll nerf her anyway just because they never want to see her in professional. So let's see what's going on. Zeri was shocked by the item system overall as players are now opting to build experimental hexplate on her to access the ultimate ability haste. Huh. So since she could use the help L skills, we'll be giving her some generic buffs. Interesting. So let's see what they're doing. Base AD is going up by 3, which is okay. And then the R cooldown is going down early from 100 to 80. That's not bad. That's pretty good. Does this change a lot? No. But, it's whatever. Yeah, dude, the ADs are barely getting touched. Like, what? This is barely a touching. And then we get to the fake AD, Ziggle. So, again, I've, probably said this to death at this point. I'm beating the old horse to death, if it's not already dead. But, Ziggs, I guess, is the only person I think is okay in bot lane as an all damage carry, even though it's not damage AD, it's damage AP. But Ziggs, I feel like, is an alright pick because he is really weak early. Now, do I think he's good? Kind of. I think he's a little bit above under the rim, over the mill, over the baseline. I think he's kind of similar to Annie, where Annie at a baseline is very good. It's just Annie, I think, is more mechanically difficult, higher floor. Uh, Ziggs has a very low floor and high ceiling, I feel like. So, I'm not sure. If I had to guess, they're probably going to nerf him, I think, but let's see. So he lost quite a bit of durability due to the lack of the fact that 2 of his core items, Seraphs and Shadow Flame, lost 200 health each. Damn. And so they're giving him an extra durability normally, with his armor going from 18 to 21, and the growth going from 4.5 to 4.7, which, again, I don't know what that matters, but the lower the armor is, as always, the more it means when you raise it. So this is pretty good. And then the W satchel charge is going from 24 to 20 seconds. Not bad. Late game it's the same, but that's fine. Ziggs, again, sadly, I don't want to say slightly better, decently better because of the armor, but that's really it. Zyra, the plant bitch. I feel like Dot in general, even though I love it, it's not that good unless you have a character like Lilia or Brand or Malzahar that could kind of just continuously do it. You just get it on Zyra just because it's so easy to proc and apply. So let's see what they're doing to her. I'm honestly unsure. Zyra's support doesn't need much mana due to how much regeneration she gets from her support item. When Lange's tournament lost ability haste and mana, she was more than happy to simply get more damage in return. Wow. Mid Zyra, on the other hand, like both these things, is patch would like to close the gap on support versus mid. Holy lord, that's terrible. We're happy with her primary being a support. Oh, thank god. We like to let Zyra's enthusiast feel viable in more than just one role, which is sad because anytime an ADC does this, they nerf it to the ground. Like Lucian mid, nerfed so he has to go with support. Tristana mid, kind of nerfed, but kind of can still make it work just because of the ult and the E. But either way, I'm getting off tangent from Zyra here. So what are they doing? Base mana regen's down by almost half. Holy shit. And then the growth is increased, so she'll get more, or not she, he will get more later, which is interesting. Or no, sorry, fuck, she. I'm thinking of Ziggs still for some reason. My mind's all over the place. I've barely got any sleep. Regardless, on my sleep-deprived mind, it's still smart though. The mana cost of the Q is going down, and then the W is... Wait, what? Seed charge progress on minion monster takedown. So you shouldn't even be getting this, because realistically speaking, she's not good enough to be a mid laner. She could really only go support, even as shitty as a support as she is. She's not terrible. But, yeah, I don't know why you would need this unless you're doing like a one-off thing. The stupid minion monster takedown for the seed charge. It's a very small thing, and I think they won't, and by they I mean, the Zyra mains, they won't really utilize this too much, but who knows. So finally, that's all the balance changes for champions. Moving on to the items. Essence Reaver. This is the go-to for Ezreal, obviously. I don't know if anyone else uses it. I think they do, but I'm not sure. So what are they doing? The new item system lethality became a much better option for starting ballers in particular. And I've actually seen that too. I've seen certain ADs, and obviously it's the ones you think of. Jhin. I've even seen Jinx do it. Caitlyn, obviously. They all kind of work too well with lethality. And I'm pretty sure they're going to nerf lethality because it's been kind of strong. But let's see. So combined with the overall pacing differences, on hit, crit, and carry marksmen have been left a bit weaker than they were before. Yep. So they're increasing the damage of Soul Reaver, which is nothing. Jinsos. What Jinso's trying to do. I really like Jinsos, but something weird enough, right? Maybe I'm getting baited by the new item. I don't know. But Kog'Maw this season, even though he still is good, doesn't feel as strong with these new items, which is weird. So, let's see what they're doing. So the AD is going up from 30 to 35, and the power is going up from 30 to 35 as well. I mean, I don't know why you'd need attack damage, unless for, you know, you want your autos to not be P. But the ability power is not bad. But realistically speaking, the fact that... I'm not sure. I'm trying to remember what iteration Jinso's is, because he used to stack. Honestly, this is whatever. I'm spending too much time on it. This is a decent buff. Hullbreaker. I actually haven't seen anyone use this, so I'm a little curious to see what's going on with it. So we have a bug fix to Hullbreaker that this patch, which would restore a key part of the item's power, was previously missing. So they fixed a bug that caused the Hullbreaker buff to immediately unintentionally fall off when an allied champion is nearby. Oh. That's weird. Okay. So that's quality life. Chaotic Rookern. I haven't built this time. I don't even remember what it's for. Chaotic Rookern has become the premier magic resist item. Damn, because before it used to be Force of Nature, overshadowing other options like Spirit Visions and Force of Nature. Intended to be a generic source of MR, this item does not need to be somewhat powerful. So what are they doing? So the magic shield is going down by 2%, which is okay. And then the shield refresh cooldown is going up to 15. Ugh. That is a little ugly, but I guess it's okay. Not too bad. It's basically just you're pretending to be Galio. It's a little worse for it, but still decent. Mediocre. So Rod of Ages. I haven't seen Rod be built a lot because only very niche champions used to build it before. And even now there's, I think, more funner or more decent options. Just, around everything else. So I'm pretty sure they have to buff it. So let's see what they're doing. So with many AP champions moving on to burst items such as, oh, you guessed it, Storm Rage and Shadow Flame, we want to ensure that the more durable options are still effective and just as appealing. Interesting. This should be for a slew of non-assassin AP champs while trying to buy other stuff. Okay. So they're giving you 50 more mana, 100 more mana, 50 health. It's okay. I really don't feel like it does anything though. Stride Breaker. So this thing has seen some changes time and time again because if Garen and Darius can't use it, then basically no one can. So I'm curious to see what they did. I actually don't know if they nerfed it, they buffed it. It doesn't look like he's really not he. It doesn't look like the Stride Breaker is really used a lot. I'm seeing more Tiamat than anything. But let's take a look. So Stride Breaker has struggled to be a viable option since Demythicking, and they've buffed it a few times. The item is becoming dangerously close to being a pure stat stick. Interesting. So they're adding Tiamat to its build. Oh, what the fuck? I just said that was the problem, not the solution. That said, we're concerned over how much burst is available in the item system at the moment. So they're using that Tiamat, the same thing of Tiamat, in order to make it unique against Ravenous and Titanic. Okay, cool. So the gold is going up, the health is going up, the attack damage is going up. The passive fixed attacks now deal. Damn, so it's giving you kind of wave clear with basics. Wow. Holy shit. Stride Breaker is sort of like melee Runan. Or, sorry, Runans. Breaking the shockwave now does up to 8% physical damage on cast. Slow and movement speed volumes are unchanged. I see. I think this is really good. Honestly, I think this is really, really good. Wow. I think Stridebreaker went out pretty well here. A lot of, like, it got 2 new passive effects that are pretty good. And then obviously Dream Shatter is actually getting nerfed. I thought it was going to be better. Holy shit. Okay, cool. So the Collector. The Collector is an okay item. Obviously, lethality is all the rage, so it's just kind of benefiting all the people who have lethality right now. Jhin, Caitlyn, maybe even Jinx. But even without them using lethality, I think Collector is always a decent item as well, obviously for Jhin. But what does Red think? Like Jhin sells Rage Blades, Master Reaver. This change is intended to increase the power level of on-hit and crit marksman. Interesting. So they're basically just trying to push you a little bit away from lethality. This is whatever. The damage is going down by 5. It's really not anything. Yomus. I don't really see much assassins, thank God. But I would imagine they do use Yomus now. So, with more ranged champions opting to pick up lethality, oh my god, it's the same thing. Holy shit. So what is it? Out of combat, bonus move speed from 40 to 40, 20 for ranged. Damn. So EDs can't use it as hard, and then active move speed bonus is 20 to 15 for range. Then changed. Wow. So if you're just ranged, you can't really use this shit. Or you can, but you're gonna have not as good. I still think it's pretty good. Yeah, I still think this is pretty alright. Let's go next. So, AP item and proc damage changes. They are undoubtedly going to nerf the AP items. They came out too strong. There was too many of them. They were too good. Mages really ate the best. So, in this update, one of our goals is to lower the amount of damage coming from item effects across the board, and that's because they literally added in Storm Surge, Malignance, and all these other shits that just produce damage for free from the item. Especially late game, as a worry of lowering overall burst in the game. We like to preserve overall item power as they appear to be in a good spot, so we'll be buffing some of these items as compensation for nerfing their active. So they're going more to base stats. Interesting. In general, we believe champions should be bursty when their kits support it, not because their items are doing the heavy lifting for them, which actually I feel like was the case for some people. One of the core issues we have with Mythics, so these changes should help move that system in this direction. One last note is that many of these items will need to still scale softly. Oh. Interesting. Which is why I maintain the scaling ratios instead of removing them entirely. While we were looking at proc damage, we also noticed that man-hungry champions were generally itemizing effectively, but failing a bit on the weaker side. We're lowering the gold cost of mana items to across the board for these champions, so they could be able to access their power spike more quickly. I think that's fine. I think Archangels wasn't that good, so this is okay. The cost is going down. The combined cost is going down as well. So 100 discount. Again, nothing fucking crazy. In fact, nothing almost at all. So hell yeah, the support item. I think this item is pretty decent, and they're lowering poke, or at least damage, which is I think mainly done from poke and burst. Um, so it's going down, and then the heal is going up. I think that's fine. It's more of a support item. That's cool. Hex Tech Alternators now 65 at all levels. That's kind of whack, but that's fine because this is a component. Rocket Belt is going down by 25 and by 10. Damn. I almost confused this for like Heimerdinger, at least the picture. That's how tired I am right now. But Rocket Belt is pretty much worse for wear. I mean, you're not using it for the damage. The damage was a nice touch on top, especially for AP people who need to go in, but I don't think this matters. It's whatever. Kraken. I feel like this item is not really performing too well. What are they doing? They are buffing the damage. Wow. Interesting. But there's no more AD scaling. Interesting. Not bad. I don't know what the numbers would equate to, but I believe that the flat ratios are better. Especially if you're trying to make a comeback as well, now that it's scaling off of level instead of base stats. That's not bad. Lichbane. Wow, it's going down by base AD. Granted, you shouldn't have much AD to begin with in general if you're handling the Lichbane, but people do crazy things all the time. Look at me, reacting to the patch notes. So Luden's Companion, this item I really liked, especially if it's single target. It is, in my opinion, the better Luden's Echo, better Static Shiv, because it could bounce to one target. Like, it's still effective and viable. So what are they doing? The gold is going down by 100, okay. Combined cost is less. The AP is going up by 5. And the fire damage, which I'm assuming is the gun, is going down. Wow, by half. Even though it's from 8 to 4, it's like half. Overall, I would say this item is still pretty okay. It's gonna suck. The fire damage isn't that high, but it's whatever. Malignants, they're definitely touching this item. So the cost is going down. The combined cost is going down, damage per second. And magic resist shred. Huh. This is interesting. So 10 at all levels. So they're equalizing stuff again. Interesting. I think this is fine. It's losing 1% its AP ratio of damage per second, but it's honestly nothing. Malignance is probably still good. So, Profaned Hydra. I feel like the Hydra items are going to get nerfed, but let's see. So the passive is going up for both melee and range, which is interesting. Activating heretical cleave damage against targets will below 50% will interesting. After heretical cleave below 50% max health. So it's getting worse. Okay, so it's getting worse. So they are nerfing it. Cool. Okay, static getting cheaper. I think static is such a failed item, by the way. This item not only did not live up to the hype for me in terms of what it used to be, but I also feel like this item is just shit now. It's been abused by mages when it's meant for ADs, and anything that happens to, it's either the mage's problem, or by problem I mean it's the mage's fault, or the item is very, very bad. I think static really sucks, and I don't think the amount of changes they're going to do here from kind of peeking at the words and how many there are isn't going to look good. So let's see. So static is going down in cost, the combined cost is going down. And the electro damage to champions is going from 100 to 180 to 90. So they're nerfing the damage, but this is the whole issue. The main reason people used it, and the type of people who used it was mages, was because it had a really good AP scaling. So they took that away, I believe they took that away, and now they left it, or they nerfed it. And they left damage to champions is now 90 at all levels, which is really, really dumb. Like, this item should be a champion killing item, not a wave clearing item. It's so dumb. But static still sucks. So, Storm Razor. This item we only build on a couple niche people. Again, Jin. But aside from that, I feel like it's okay. They haven't changed much since the last time I reviewed things, but I don't think this is really anything major. So let's see what they're doing. So Storm Razor damage is going from 90 to, or sorry, not 90. No, wait, no. 90 plus 0.25 total AD to 100. Interesting. So it doesn't even scale that well. And then the bolt missile speed, which honestly does not matter, is 1 to 1.15. So Storm Razor is pretty worse for wear. Wow. Storm Razor sucks. Another thing for ADs that suck. This item probably has to be one of my favorite items for the new mages, and it's probably going to get nerfed. So let's see. Storm Surge got buffed, and then the... I thought that said sexual. The Squall damage is going down, which is fair. I feel like the Squall damage is obviously the most important part, so they're compensating with the AP power. Storm Surge is still good. Sundered Sky. Now, I heard a lot of wacky things about Sundered Sky. There's some people who, the way they interact with the math behind Sundered Sky, get really powerful crits, Mundo being one of them. So it's a little bit of a confusing point to people when they see Mundo Eing with this thing. It looks like it's doing a lot of damage. But either way, they're making it worse and they're increasing the health. So they're just making it more tanky. Titanic. Interesting. I feel like no one really builds Titanic. They either build Ravenous or maybe the new one, but let's see. The health is going up by 50, and then the Crescent is now doing less if you are ranged or proposed. If you're ranged, and then 4% if you're melee to 2% if you're ranged. Damn. So they're nerfing it a decent amount. So Titanic Hydra, I guess this was not because of the health. This is weird. I don't think the item's got enough significant changes except... nah, none of them, I don't think. Except maybe Kraken, but not really. So either way, what the fuck were we up to? Okay, cool. So we're done with the items. Nice. So systems, Rift Herald. So I'm curious to see how Rift Herald landed. I think it's good. Now, obviously, sometimes they do it by accident. You really can't navigate it. You push into the wall. I feel like if it doesn't push into the tower, it shouldn't take damage. But that's just me. So let's see what they're doing. So the Rift Herald has proven a bit too hard to control, especially as players are learning how to steer correctly. Wow. We're making the ability to turn a bit easier and give Herald a full small quality life buffs. If you let the Herald director, or sorry, if you let the Herald direction indicator and without looking at it properly will not accept the input as a direction as an input. This bug is something we're working on and acting on our end. Wow, so you basically have to spam click. So, what are they doing? The first 3 seconds after spawning, Rift Herald is very high maneuverability and will be easier to turn. What? Every 2 seconds after the Herald slowly becomes less maneuverable. That's so dumb. That's gonna be so annoying. Ugh. High maneuverability. Wow. I hope that means just jumping around, not like actively moving. But let's see. The damage from wall collisions. Crashing onto a wall while controlling Herald will deal damage equal to that of crashing into a tower to Shelly, to now generating a wall while covering... Oh, sorry. Crashing, I said generating. Crashing while into a wall while controlling the Herald will deal 20% of the damage received compared to crashing into a tower from Shelly. So that's good. That's one of the main issues I saw with it, and now that's being rectified, which is pretty good. They're not taking it completely away, which they shouldn't, but this is pretty fun. And then the last one. Player Summon Rift Herald trinket spawning has been sped up by 1. Very cool. Very nice. So Rift Herald got some pretty decent buffs. And whenever it's quality of life stuff, it's I like it too. Like, it's pretty good. This is not... I think this is like both quality of life and gameplay wise. So then we have ARAM changes. I don't really care. Mythic shop rotation. No one cares. Behavioral system. Let's see this shit. After reporting a player for verbal abuse or hate speech, you will receive a pop-up at the end of the game where you can easily block the player. Wow. To prevent this pop-up from showing up, you can say just do not disturb again. Cool. And they increase the duration of most chat penalties. Thank the good Lord. Because this is a free-to-play game, any Joe Schmo could just either buy an account or pay for one and then just get on it really easily. Excuse me. So chat penalties need to be increased to really show the people you can't be toxic. Now, being toxic is different from, having some fun. We can't be like, the fun police here, but I think the previous chat penalties weren't enough. So this is good. Bug fixes quality of life. Interesting. Okay, nothing really important here that I saw. And finally, upcoming skins and chroma. So this is where I believe we're getting into some controversy. So, we have a new mythic variant, and for those of you who don't know, that's the $200 bullshit skin. So that's amazing. And who else to get it than the guy with 2 legendaries already, Lee Sin? Like, it's so ridiculous how many people get this. And again, I've said this before, but the people only get skins on if they're gonna sell and who's popular. So, good luck waiting on that Skarner skin for the rework, because that shit's probably gonna get reworked too. But the fact that Lee Sin's getting it, Lee Sin's probably gonna get another skin before anything major happens. Oh, it's so sad. It's so sad. Yeah, $200 for the new Lee skin. Now we get to the actual event. Or the skins of the event. So for the lineup, we have Lee Sin, which is dumb. $200 Lee Sin, which is even dumber. Heaven Skill Mastery, which I don't know why, but whenever Lee is like there, I feel like he's gonna be there too. I feel like we've also been getting a decent amount of Master Yi skins, which is weird. Then we have Heaven Skill Janna, which looks pretty cool. Heaven Skill Ezreal, which I hope isn't a legendary, but who knows. New Kaisa skin, where she looks hot as shit. Oh, she's looking at all the butterflies. Whoa. Or not the butterflies. What am I saying? The lanterns. But let me see here. I'm trying to think. Kaisa has gotten a good amount of skins recently. Not very recently, but the last one I saw that I remember that's pretty good is the Ink Shadow one. That honestly might be a little bit behind because there's so many skins that fucking come out. I have to forget when they come out, but they always come out for the same people. So sad to see Kaisa get another one, but she's an AD, so I'm happy. And I should be happy for Ezreal as well, but he gets too many skins too. This is where we need a legendary skin for Twitch, Kog'Maw, Aphelios. Samira got her, pseudo-legendary ultimate, so that's whatever. But we need more skin variation. The fact that some of these people, who again, like Ezreal, have, 2 legendaries and an ultimate, and then Lee Sin has a couple legendaries as well. Like, they don't need more of this shit. But obviously they're gonna get it. But I'm wondering at what point is Riot okay with just oversaturating this to the max? So then we have Heaven Scale Diana, which I honestly think is a pretty good fit. I don't think Diana gets too many skins, and I think Heaven Scale works perfectly for her. So that's cool. And then we have Prestige as in Heaven Scale Ezreal. Great. Fucking amazing. So, Heaven Scale, this honestly fucked with my head because I've been doing Lantern Rite and Genshin, so I thought this was like halfway with Lantern Rite, but I was wrong. Either way, those are the skins. Pretty sad on the lineup. I mean, I'm decently happy with the Kaisa and Ezreal ones, even though I don't really care about Ezreal. But overall, like, Janna, I kind of skipped over Janna, I think, too. Or I don't remember. Fuck, I'm that tired. Lee Sin doesn't deserve it. Yi doesn't really deserve it. Janna, we'll let it pass. Ezreal should be banned from getting skins for 2 years. Kaisa realistically didn't deserve it, but it's okay. We like her. Diana, I think, is a great fit, and then Heaven Scale one, terrible, because it's still Ezreal. And then $200 Lee Sin skin from Gacha. The skins so far, granted it's Lunar Revel, so I guess they'll get a pass, but I really don't like it. Overall, this patch was honestly meh. I thought they would do more. All of these changes really kind of just sucked. The biggest winner, I think, is Yorick. Yorick got a lot of good things. Aside from that, the items really didn't get touched too much, except Stridebreaker. Stridebreaker and Yorick really got touched silly. They got stroked. Everything else kind of sucked. Also, it might just be like my grumpiness from not being able to sleep too well, because I'm lacking sleep heavily right now. But overall, this patch kind of sucked. I wish it helped more of the AD stuff. Like look at what happened. Let me look back here, right? Let's just take it in totality. going back to the items at least. Because, like, this Zeri buff, realistically, is whatever. Like, it's okay, but it's not the cooldown that's really the issue. The base AD helps a little bit, but it's just her identity is more and more harder to do and get. Granted, her identity was too easy to get before when she came out, and there was two problems with Zeri when she came out. She could do bruiser builds that made her unkillable, and she got way too fast, but that was two separate problems, even though it was one problem dependent on the other. Her getting too fast was because she was lasting too long in fights. They nerfed both of those things, and they tried to push her more towards crit. That's honestly fine. However, I feel like she just doesn't have out the fancy of getting her speed, and she can't get the bruiser builds anymore because they suck on her. So the main problem with Zeri is two of the issues, one which was dependent on the other, got kind of bad for her. They kind of got worse. Or they got solved and it made two things worse, when one thing was only really the main issue. If they just increased the amount of move speed Zeri got, I think she'd be still somewhat balanced, because you still do have to work up for it, but it takes too long. But anyway, so Zeri buffs is whatever. Essence Reaver buff, it's 5 damage, it's whatever. Junso's Rage Blade buff, I mean, it's okay, but it's, I don't know what about it. Because the people who build Rage Blade is a little bit more accessible now, obviously, because it's not a mythic, but like, I haven't played Kale with it. I've played Kog'Maw, and like I said, Kog'Maw feels weaker. It might be baiting from like the new item Terminus, which I don't even know who's gonna use that shit aside from Kog'Maw, maybe. But I don't know. This patch fucking like sucked major wiener. Maybe I'm just gonna rate it this way because I'm grumpy and I'm sleepy and I'm like mixing it up with Genshin because of Lantern Right. But I'm gonna rate this patch like a 4 out of 10. It didn't have anything too egregious other than missing some stuff. Like, if you actively do wrong, you should get a worse grade. If you don't include things that should have been there, I kind of take it as you forgot or you don't know, which is still pretty bad, but it's not as bad as making an active mistake. It's more of a passive mistake. So 5 out of 10 is always neutral. Excuse me. 4 out of 10 is a little subpar, and especially noticing these skins here, I'm definitely strong saying 4 out of 10 Marc Merrills. So anyway, that's gonna be it. I hope everyone enjoyed. I do apologize if this one was a little all over the place and everywhere, because again, I'm really tired. But that's gonna be it. So hopefully in 2 weeks they buff ADs. I'm still hoping, still, praying, but every week my will decreases for the love, for the love of God. Just pray, just please, like, buff ADs. Anyway, that's it. Hope everyone enjoyed. Watch me at Twitch TV says Tecnics channel. Yay!